नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 6, texts 15 to 17. There is no purport. I will read myself these verses. Isha mato gridam strasyam girikandara nasikam gandashaila stanam raudram prakirnaruna murdhajam andakupa gabiraksham pulina roha bhishanam bhaddasetu Bujorvanghrī shunyatoya hradodaram santatrasu sma tadvikshya gopa gopya kalevaram purvam tutan nisvanita bhinnahrit karna mastakaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Rakshasi's mouth was full of teeth, each resembling the front of a plow. Her nostrils were deep like mountain caves, and her breasts resembled big slabs of stone fallen from a hill. Her scattered hair was the color of copper. The sockets of her eyes appeared like deep blind wells. Her fearful thighs resembled the banks of a river. Her arms, legs and feet seemed like big bridges, and her abdomen appeared like a dried up lake. This is the description of Putana. The hearts, ears and heads of the cowherd men and women were already shocked by the Rakshasi's screaming, and when they saw the fierce wonder of her body, they were even more frightened. Text 18, please repeat after me. Balam cha tasyaha urasi balam cha tasya urasi kridantam akuto bhayam gopyaha turnam samabhyetya gopyasturnam samabhyetya Jagrihu Jata Sambramaha Jagrihur Jata Sambramaha Balam Chatasya Urasi Kridantam Makuto Bhayam Gopyasturnam Samabhyetya Jagruhur Jata Sambramaha. Balam cha, the child also, tasyaha, of that Rakshasi Putana, urasi, on the upper portion of the breast, kridantam, engaged in playing, akutobhayam, without fear, gopyaha, all the cowherd women, Turnam, immediately. Samabhyetya, coming near. Jagrihu, picked up. Jata Sambramaha, with the same affection and respect they always maintained. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Abhayacharana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Without fear, the child Krishna was playing on the upper portion of Putana Rakshasi's breast. And when the gopis saw the child's wonderful activities, they immediately came forward with great jubilation and picked him up. Please repeat the translation. Without fear, the child was playing on the upper portion of Putana Rakshasi's breast. And when the gopis saw the child's wonderful activities, they immediately came forward with great jubilation and picked him up. Purport. Here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Although the Rakshasi, Putana, could increase or decrease her bodily size by her mystic abilities and thus gain proportionate power, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally powerful in any transcendental form. Krishna is the real personality of Godhead because whether as a child or as a grown-up young man, he is the same person. He does not need to become powerful by meditation or any other external endeavor. Therefore, when the greatly powerful Putana expanded her body, Krishna remained the same small child and fearlessly played on the upper portion of her breast. Shadaishwarya Purna. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always full in all potencies, regardless of whether he is present in this form or that. His potencies are always full. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. He can display all potencies under any circumstances. Thus ends the Bhakti in the purport and translations to Canto 10, Chapter 6, texts 15 through 18. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So texts 15 through 17, we saw the description of Putana's very strange bodily description given by Shukadeva Goswami. How her mouth with full of teeth resembled the front portion of a plow. You can just think of this description. A comparison is being made of how she looked like. Her nostrils were like deep mountain caves. Her hair was the color of copper, not black. The sockets of her eyes appeared like deep blind wells, so deep her eyes were, eye sockets were. Her arms, legs and feet were like bridges, big bridges. Her abdomen appeared like a dried up lake. Lake without water. Referring to the navel actually. So, being so scary, anyone who would look at her certainly will become fearful. So Shukadeva Goswami says, when the Rakshasi screamed, already the cowherd men and women were shocked because they thought she is a beautiful young woman who came to feed baby Krishna. And here we are seeing such a gigantic body, fierce looking, and Krishna is in danger. So they were already shocked. And when they actually saw her body, they were even more frightened. Who? The cowherd men and women of Gokula. But although the cowherd men and women were frightened of Putana's body and her disposition, what about Lord Krishna, the baby Krishna, who is actually in danger or supposedly in danger? What about him? Was he also equally afraid? No, not at all. So here, Shukadeva Goswami describes very nicely about Krishna. Balam cha, the child, tasya urasi kridantam, was seen kridantam, playing. Tasya urasi, on the upper portion of the Rakshasi, Putana's breast. Akutobayam, without any fear. So Krishna was seen playing. He was playful. And Akutobayam, he didn't express any kind of fear. Absolutely no fear. Akutobayam. Gopyasturnam samabhyetya sambramaha jagruhu jata. And Gopyasturnam samabhyetya. When the gopis saw the child's wonderful activities, Turnam samabhyetya sambramaha. They very soon, very quickly, Turnam very quickly, immediately, samabhyetya, they came near or came forward towards baby Krishna. Sambramaha, with great jubilation. And Jagruhu Jata, they picked him up. So, in the purport, Prabhupada makes a very significant point explaining about one particular symptom of Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? Here, that the Lord possesses all mystic powers without separate endeavor. And He is always the Supreme Lord in all circumstances, whether as a small baby or as a youth or as a grown-up, supposedly a grown-up man or a grown-up adult. He is equally powerful in any transcendental form. All His forms in all ages are transcendental. And He is equally powerful at all ages. Unlike Putana, by mystic ability, she could increase and decrease her bodily size, and accordingly the power also varies. But in the case of Krishna, that is not required. Even as a baby, he can manifest all potencies. Even as an infant, he can manifest all potencies, all opulences at will. Because everything is owned, possessed by him. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. So Prabhupada says he can display all potencies under any circumstances. And Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan, he can exhibit any opulence he wants at will. So not by meditation, not by austerities, not by yoga practice, that Krishna becomes Bhagavan. He's always Bhagavan, full in all potencies and all mystic powers and all control, everything. So this is one point in the purport Prabhupada highlights. And in the translation, another important point being highlighted is the Lord was completely without fear. On the other hand, he was seen, observed, playing on Putana's upper portion of her breast. So this is a very important point to note, that the Lord is fearless. He has no fear of any danger or any fear from any demon, however powerful the demon may be. So, we would try to understand how the Lord is fearless in about 25 ways. But actually, there are unlimited ways to analyze how the Lord is fearless. But today, we will discuss about 25 ways why the Lord is fearless. The first reason the Lord is fearless, because there is nothing greater than Him or beyond Him. He is as a Maurdhva. There's nobody greater than Him or equal to Him. So hence He is fearless. Obviously He is fearless. Number two, the Lord has no power superior to Him. That is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam mama teja amsha sambhavam. Krishna says all powers are coming from me, manifested from me. In fact, every power you see in this world, mama tejaha, coming from my teja, amsha sambhavaha. Sambhava means it's manifesting. Amsha, simply it's a spark of my splendor, not my complete power, complete splendor also. So there is no power superior to the Lord. Even in, this is in the 11th chapter, what I quoted now. Even in the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Balam balavatam chaham. I'm the power of the powerful. So that's number two. Number three, there is no authority above Him. He is supreme authority. Deva Deva Jagatpate. Krishna says, that is in 10th chapter. Krishna also says, Mattaha parataram na anyat. There is no one superior to me. I am supreme. Then number four, there is no danger for Krishna. There is no danger for Krishna. Or, in other words, nobody can cause any danger to God. Or there is nothing which is dangerous for God. Number five, He is not subject to the control of Kala, time, which is a limiting factor, destructive factor in this world. Everything is subject to destruction and diminution. So Kala limits everything. But Krishna, He is not subject to Kala or time. Number six, He is not subject to karma. Namam karma nilimpanti, name karma pale spriha. In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna declares that no karma can affect Him. So God has no karma. Krishna has no karma. He has no karma, nor is He subject to any karma. So another important conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, because people think God is subject to karma. God also had to face karma. Particularly, they take out Rama and Mahabharata and unfortunately screw out all kinds of possibilities of the influence of karma on Rama and Krishna. It's absolutely wrong and mental concoction. That means we clearly know they do not know Bhagavat Tattva. They're exposing their ignorance. If God is subject to karma, then how He is God? Then He is a conditioned soul, like us. then he doesn't become worshipable. If God is subject to karma, he is not worshipable. A worshipable personality is one who is not subject to karma. That's why we worship the Lord, we worship the Acharya. Because they're not subject to karma and they don't perform any karmas. Material karma, I mean to say. They're sinless. So therefore they're not subject to any karma. So God is not subject to any karma. So there is no fear from karma, therefore. Then, number 7, there is no influence of the 3 modes of material nature upon the Supreme Lord. How can the modes influence the Lord? Because the Bhagavatam, it is explained, Dhamna Svena Nirastakuhakam. Vyasadeva in the very first verse explains the nature of the Supreme Lord and his abode. Dhamna Svena Nirasta Kuhakam. That abode of the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord and all the personalities in that world, called the spiritual world, are always free from the influence of the 3 modes. Free from the influence of illusions. Krishna always is the master of the modes. Maya adhyakshena prakritihi. Suyate sa chara acharam. Krishna says, I dictate and direct the modes. I am not under the influence of the 3 gunas. Rather, they are under my direction and dictation and order. So therefore, there is no fear for the Lord. Number 8, there is no birth, death, old age or disease for God. So there is no source of fear, you see, for God. Then, number 9, the Lord is not subject to Adhyatmika, Aditaivika, Adibhaudika kleshas. As everyone is subject to, including Devatas. Including Devatas. Everybody is subject to these 3 kinds of troubles, cataclysms. Adhyatmika, suffering due to one's own body and mind. Adhyatmika. Adi Bhautika, suffering due to other living beings, living entities. Birds, beasts, animals, other living beings. Then Adi Daivika, suffering due to natural calamities, cataclysms, earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, like that. But the Lord is not subject to, affected by, disturbed by any of these troubles, which trouble everyone in this world, without exception, including Brahma. Everybody is disturbed by these kleshas, troubles. But for the Supreme Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Then number 10, he is not short of any resource or any facility. Number 11, he is not short of any opulence. And therefore Prabhupada says here, Shadaishwarya Purna. He is not short of any opulence. We are short of money. The month is almost coming to an end. Jai Krishna Malaram Gurdev Prabhupada ki jai. I don't have money for my provisions, for my clothes, or this or that. I'm just touching upon the points, not going into the details. You can meditate upon all these things. He is not short of any opulence. All opulences are at his service. He is the owner, proprietor of all opulences. Shad Aishwarya Purna. That is why Krishna is called Purna Bhagavan. One of the analysis by Vyasadeva and his father Parashara Muni. Krishna is Shad Aishwarya Purna Bhagavan. Then, number 12. There is no power in this world which can stop him from fulfilling his desires. There is no power which can stop him from fulfilling desire. He wishes, he desires, it will happen. Then number 13, he is not dependent on anything or anyone for anything. He's not dependent on others. He's completely independent. Then, he is not controlled by anything or anyone in all the three worlds. Abhigna Swarat. Vyasadeva describes this quality of Krishna particularly. Vasudeva, Krishna. Abhigna Swarat. He is not controlled by anything or anyone in all the three worlds. That's point 14. Point 15. He is not short or bereft of any enjoyment. If he wants to enjoy, he can enjoy unlimitedly without restriction. There's no fear. But I can't enjoy unlimitedly. My enjoying capacity is limited. And even if I enjoy, I'll get into a lot of troubles. You can think about it. For example, if a sweet gulab jamun is very nice, instead of one, I may take two. At most 3. If I take 10 gulab jamuns, what will happen? Finished. I'll fall sick. I'll be in trouble. That's why you see, even though there is a craving for eating unlimitedly, in the mind it is there. Whenever you sit for food, the tendency is to eat unlimitedly. But simultaneously there's a fear. I will fall sick. There'll be indigestion. So you somehow manage, control, regulate because of fear. Oh, I'll fall sick. Better I restrict myself now. But Krishna can enjoy. This one example I gave. We can give many more examples. But the Lord's capacity to enjoy is unlimited. Without fear, He can enjoy unlimitedly, unrestrictedly. So He has nothing to fear. Then, number 16, there is nothing which is lost or for Him to lose. We're always in fear. I have power, I have intelligence, I have designation, I have some limited enjoyment. Is a fear of losing it. For the Lord, there is no such fear of losing anything, nor has He lost anything. Then, number 17, the Lord's intelligence is never thwarted or disturbed. His intelligence is never disturbed, never bewildered. At all phases of time, under all circumstances, His intelligence is perfectly situated. He never gets overwhelmed, never gets bewildered, never gets thwarted, means arrested, stops functioning. Sometimes, buddhi kelsa madlela. Sometimes it works, most times it doesn't work. But for the Lord, it's not like that. His intelligence is perfectly in working condition at all times and phases in time. Number 18, His vision is never obstructed. Amogadrik. His vision is never obstructed. He can see through things clearly. There is utmost clarity in His thinking, in His analysis, in His decision making. So His vision is never obstructed by anything. The number 19, He does not come under the influence of ignorance. Very important point. God does not come under the influence of ignorance. Therefore, Vyasadeva has realized this point. Mayam chitad apashrayam. He is a Maya or ignorance at the back of Krishna. Maya or ignorance cannot face Krishna, therefore she is backside, not in the front. When Vyasadeva realized Krishna, he saw Maya back of Krishna. It's described in the Bhagavatam first canto. Vyasadeva himself describes this. So therefore the Lord is never subject to, never comes under the influence of ignorance. This leads to next conclusion. That means point number 20. He is always in perfect transcendental knowledge. He is always enlightened. The Lord is an eternally enlightened soul. There's nothing for the Lord to become enlightened. His leela of going to Gurukula is just a pastime to indicate the importance of accepting a spiritual master for gaining perfect transcendental knowledge for the conditioned soul. Not that he requires to gain knowledge. He is the source of all knowledge. He is the origin of knowledge, beginning of knowledge, middle of knowledge, end of knowledge. This is described in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Knowledge emanates from him, originates from Krishna. That is described in the Nectar of Devotion, also very nicely by Rupa Goswami. So he is always in perfect transcendental knowledge. Number 21, his another important conclusion why the Lord is fearless. His senses are under his perfect control, full control. All his senses are under his full control. Forget his senses under his control. Everybody's senses are under the control of the Lord. Therefore, he is called Rishikesha. Rishika Isha. He is the master, proprietor, controller of all the senses. There's no danger from his senses. We have danger from the senses. Because it is, what is the danger from the senses? Uncontrolled senses are the danger. For whom? For the spirit soul. For his spiritual growth, spiritual progress, spiritual enlightenment. From that perspective. Especially from that perspective. So his senses are under full control. So he has no fear. One who has conquered all his senses has nothing to fear in all the three worlds. He can freely move in all the three worlds without fear. From the difficulties the senses will bring about. But for a liberated soul, or for the Lord who is ever liberated, therefore the Lord is Nitya Mukta, ever liberated from the control of the senses. He is the controller of all the senses. Then number 22, he has no enemies to fear from. Who can be the enemy of God? Is there anybody daring to become the enemy of God? No possibility. So he has no enemies to fear from. Number 23, actually, he has created the fear element itself. Why he'll be fearful? Number 24, he has created the danger element. Why there is danger for him? The why he has created the fear and danger, there is a reason. Because unless this element is there in this material world, a conditioned soul who has not controlled his senses can go out of control and do all kinds of crazy things unrestrictedly. Therefore, there is an arrangement of fear and danger and control also, so that there is some kind of regulation. Okay. Then lastly, for today's discussion, number 25. Finally, the Lord himself is fear, he himself is danger, he himself is death. And simultaneously, although he himself is fear, danger and death, because there is nothing which is a-Krishna in this world, or which is not Krishna in this world. So he himself is fear, he is danger, he is death. It is not something separate from him which he has to fear from. But simultaneously, he himself is fearlessness for fear. He himself is protector for danger, and he himself is eternity as opposed to death. So this kind of contradictory, apparently contradictory quality or nature can be possible only in the Supreme Lord. How can somebody be fear and fearless? Somebody be danger and also the cause of being safe or being protected? How can somebody be death and also the cause of eternality? That is why he is Bhagavan. Therefore the Lord is fearless. So, if we take shelter of such a personality, imagine how much safe we will feel. So that is why when we come under the shelter of Krishna, we also become fearless. Therefore the one of the acharyas sang, Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. If you take shelter of Nandanandana, Krishna, you become fearless, obviously, because the Lord is a source of fearlessness. He is not fearful. He can therefore instill that fearlessness in all of us who take shelter of Him. And you become relieved and peaceful. So Krishna repeatedly says this in the Bhagavad Gita, requests this of us in the Bhagavad Gita. You take my shelter. Is one of the primary messages of the Gita. If you take my shelter, you will become fearless, dangerless. Many places Krishna has indicated this in the Bhagavad Gita. Then another important point as discussed in the purport here is the Lord's power is all the same at any point of time. He does not have to acquire any mystic power. And He is the same person, does not have to change forms to manifest power. Doesn't have to change anything externally, anything internally. He is always the same. And whatever He is all the same. That is the position of Bhagavan. So He is God even as a small child, or as a youth, or as a person in the battlefield of Kurukshetra when he was about 125 years old, when Lord Krishna had grandchildren, or when he was a small baby in the lap of Mother Yashoda, or in the lap of Putana. He is the same Bhagavan with same power and strength. It's not that His strength is increasing, power is increasing by age, time, practice, sadhana, austerity, by increment of His bodily size, by meditation. None of these things. Unlike the yogis or unlike these demons, they have to acquire all these things externally. But not for Krishna. It's always the same. There's another symptom of Bhagavan. He's always God. Nothing like He becomes God by meditation or by austerity or by acquiring mystic power or yogic power. No. Nobody can become Bhagavan by acquiring yogic power, mystic power, by austerities, by meditation. Nobody can become Bhagavan. Bhagavan is always Bhagavan of his own category. Rest others are all coming from Him. And even if anybody has mystic power, yogic power, it is derived from the Supreme Lord. It is bestowed by the Supreme Lord alone. A very important point we should note. That is why Krishna is called Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic power and yogic perfections and meditations. He is the proprietor of all siddhis. There are about 8 primary siddhis and 10 secondary siddhis and 5 inferior siddhis. And this is described by Lord Krishna to Uddhava in his instructions about yoga siddhis in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. I'll just read them and I will close. The 8 primary mystic perfections we might have heard many times. So, one of them is, one of the mystic perfection is one by which one can transform one's own body by becoming smaller than the smallest. It's called Anima Siddhi. Then one can also become greater than the greatest. Assume a huge body, Mahima Siddhi, like Putana assumed, Mahima Siddhi. Big, gigantic body, Mahima Siddhi. Then one can also become lighter than the lightest. It's called Laghima Siddhi. So these 3 siddhis are concerning transformation of one's own body. Then, to the perfection of Prapti, 4th siddhi, one can acquire whatever one desires. Whatever one desires, Prapti, you can get what you desire. Then, through Prakamya Siddhi, the 5th siddhi, One can experience any enjoyable object. Whatever you want to enjoy, you can get it. No restriction. Either in this world or in the next. Suppose from Indraloka you want something. From another planet you want something enjoyable. You can get it. Then, sixth Siddhi. Ishita Siddhi means to manipulate material energy. Even material energy you can manipulate. Not unlimitedly, but to some extent. To manipulate the sub-potencies of Maya, manipulate material energy. Like controlling wind, water movements, like that and all you can do. People have no idea. Science has no idea about all these things. Then, seventh Siddhi. Vashita Siddhi, where one is unimpeded by the three modes of nature. You can go beyond the effect of the three modes of nature. The last Siddhi, Kamava Sayita Siddhi, wherein one can obtain anything from anywhere to the highest possible limit in this material world. There are 8 primary Siddhis. Then 10 secondary Siddhis or mystic perfections are, these are mostly which are derived as a byproduct of the modes of goodness. Effect of the mode of goodness. 10 secondary mystic perfections. They are the powers of freeing oneself from hunger and thirst and other bodily disturbances. You can make him free from hunger and thirst and bodily disturbances. And then you can hear and see things which are far away, sitting here. Something is happening in America, you can see here and tell. You can check up the news channel, it will be happening there. You can call your friend and check up. Then moving the body at the speed of mind. That's how yogis travel. In a split second, they can be in another planet. So you can move your body, because body is physical, right? But the yogi can transform his body in such a way, he can travel at the speed of mind. Assuming any form one desires, then entering into the bodies of others. Not only ghosts. If you achieve yoga siddhi, you can also enter into another's body. Dying when one desires so. You decide when you want to die. You fix a date and time and year. Then you decide to leave this, quit this body. Not by force. You can decide your death date. Then witnessing the pastimes of demigods and apsaras in heaven. Sitting here you can watch like a television, no? If you have relay television of America, what's going on, you can see here, right? A yogi similarly can see what is going on in Devaloka sitting here. Right in front, there will be a subtle screen. He will see what is the program going on in the Devaloka and Apsaraloka. So he'll see a dance program going on in the Apsaraloka. Sitting here he will see. Sitting in Himalaya he will see. Then, completely executing one's determination, giving orders whose fulfillment will be unimpeded. In other words, whatever he desires, he will see that it will happen at any cost. We plan so many things, 99% doesn't happen, 1% will happen. Or we can make it happen. That's our limited willingness. For the yogi it is different. Then there are 5 inferior potencies. Krishna further describes to Uddhava. The power to know the past, present and future is an inferior potency, mystic power, not a great mystic power. Then tolerating heat, cold and other dualities in this material world. Then knowing, reading mind. Today it has become very trending, reading mind of others. So that is an inferior potency, mystic potency. Knowing the minds of others. Then checking the influence of fire, sun, water, poison. Snake may bite you, you will not die. You may be drowned in waters, but you will come up again. You will not die because of drowning. And remaining unconquered by others, meaning the conditioned souls of this world. So these constitutes 5 perfections of mystic power of yoga and meditation, which are of inferior nature. So like this, but Krishna concludes with a caution that actually whatever mystic perfections can be achieved in different forms can be achieved by devotional service to me. Indeed, one cannot achieve actual perfection of yoga by any other means. So all mystic perfections can be achieved easily by devotional service to Krishna without separate endeavor. So therefore the devotee is not interested in mystic perfection. They are interested in devotional service. They are interested in mystic perfections, which can be attained easily or maybe with little effort. They can be achieved by good birth, through herbs, through austerities and through mantras. This is what this is what Patanjali Muni described. Yoga siddhis can be achieved by 4 ways: from good birth, through herbs, through austerities and through mantras. Anyway, but the devotee is not interested. He is interested in devotional service to Krishna, which is more valuable. And automatically, the Lord can bestow all these mystic perfections for His devotees when they need, if they desire. If they don't desire also, it is there with them. It is there with them. You take it. Use whatever you want, whenever you want. Why should the devotee endeavor to get all these things? But it is rare to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, the devotee is interested in pure devotional service, not this mystic yoga siddhis. So the Lord is fearless and is the source of all mystic powers. Therefore, we should also take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet and become fearless and aspire for pure devotional service onto His lotus feet. So I'll stop here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.